This program raises questions. This program is for people who find it hard to trust God. The best answers are wrapped in flesh and blood. My friends, people who are enduring real tragedies every single day. Quadriplegia, muscular dystrophy, stroke, bankruptcy, loneliness, singleness. We're going to talk to those very people who have touched my life.
My memory of Holly being born, it was, those were exciting times, but they were pretty difficult times too, because I was married with a child and carrying a full-time load educationally.
So I already had a 2-year-old, Ashley, and then Holly was born, and we just living the college life, and his work, it was Springfield. It was just kind of a really depressed town at that point, and he was working on minimum wage and stuff, so it was a hard time for us.
I had a full slate of classes that morning, and then I'd worked from 3 o'clock till 11:30 or 12 o'clock, and when I got home around midnight, 12:30, Danya said she thought it was time, that she was in labor. So then we took Holly, we rushed to the hospital, and it was ready to go.
When she came out, the doctor said, it called the nurse over, that, and you could just hear concern in his voice, that there was, you should come over, I need you to come over. And they just took Holly over, to the little whatever area.
And it was like a surreal experience, because you had all this elation, and it was suddenly colliding with uncertainty and fear and what's wrong, is she alive, is she okay? And then when I went over there, I saw that she had a knot on her lower back. I could see that.
And there's like a halo of hair around the top of it. So I guess that's just kind of like a big red flag that there's a problem here. They told us they would have a pediatrician, a specialist, come and talk to us and explain the situation, because the doctor, my OB doctor, just wasn't going to get into it. So
that's when I just felt overwhelmed. That's when I knew, okay, it wasn't a bruise. It wasn't something that just might go away. The idea of a birth defect had never entered my mind. I'd known a few people that were paralyzed or had various issues, but just the concept that one of your children could be born and their body would be imperfect, and that was an overwhelming thought to me. And so at first, my cry to God was help.
We never even heard of spina bifida, didn't know what it was. Holly's a really unique case. I think hers is very unique in that most children with spina bifida, I believe, are born with that open hole in their back, and Holly didn't have that. She didn't have hydrocephalus.
We heard a new term, diastema myelin, which we had never heard before, which basically it was explained to us that there was a bony spur in her spine that was splitting into her spinal cord. And some doctors were of the opinion that it needed to be removed to give her the best chance of walking.
She was about 2 months old. That was her very first surgery. So
I really was a little bit put out with God for interrupting my plans, I think, and putting on us a burden that we didn't really know how to deal with, So I really went through, I probably had instructed other people in sermons many times not to become angry with God, but I think I know I was at times and throughout her life.
Every parent hopes and prays their newborn child will be, perfect. But when a shocking diagnosis comes, like spina bifida, your world gets turned upside down. Holly Struthers' dad said it best. I felt like God interrupted my plans. Well, yeah, but maybe it's because God has a different, an unusual, a better plan. A plan that's beautiful inside and out.
really think one of my earliest memories was right before surgery. I was crying and freaking out, and I just remember being a little girl and just praying, and my dad praying over me before I would go into a surgery. And I don't think I really understood what that meant, but I've always known that, you know, God was there protecting and doing things for me physically. And I had one surgery in particular where the doctor tried to straighten my spine with a metal plate, which actually broke in half over the course of an hour because the spine wouldn't stay straight. And it's still in there to this day. But yeah, I faced many, many surgeries as a little girl. And that was probably the hardest thing I had to deal with as a child, was just being in the hospital all the time and facing surgeries, because that was a huge fear for me. Like, it was the norm, but I also, you know, I was just afraid to go into surgery. That whole idea scared me. I work at Scottish Rite Children's Hospital, helping children with disabilities and their families. Hey, Cal.
Hey, thanks for coming back.
What's up?
So I have this new family.
Yeah.
It's a new spina bifida family.
Okay.
The little boy is 6 months old, and the mom just has tons of questions and concerns, just cries every time I talk to her.
Ever since I was a little girl, I knew I wanted to work with people with disabilities. And I got through DBU, and I got my degree in psychology. And I decided, you know, the Lord truly led me to social work. He truly did, through different people that I had interned with, and I just knew that was the profession I needed to go into. I want to develop and implement programs for people with disabilities to find social and emotional support.
I'm planning on going either into computer programming or video game design.
Oh, that's so
Yes.
cool, Jacob.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. The medical issues that they're facing, and the isolation that it often brings, needing understanding, needing empathy, and just to be able to relate on that level. Good. It's important to start everything. We face a lot of the same issues, and I can talk to them about things that I can't talk to any other person on this planet about.
No wonder Holly can relate so well to other young people with spina bifida. I mean, she's been there. In fact, she's still there. I mean, I look at her and boy, I can identify. I remember after I was first injured, paralyzed without use of my hands or legs, my girlfriends took me out to a local shopping mall, and we went into a boutique, and for the first time I was surrounded on 3 sides by a mirror. And I was stunned. I mean, up until that point, I only viewed myself in a mirror that took in my shoulders and my arms and my face, but now, all of a sudden, Joni Eareckson included a big, bulky, 360-pound piece of machinery and that I was supposed to embrace as part of me, and I just didn't know how to do that. And I look at Holly and I see that smile, but you can tell that there are still some struggles. But it's those very struggles of Holly's which enable her to speak so personally, so openly and honestly about her journey.
Do y'all have tea? It is, I mean, it's like when I go to the mall, I do turn heads. I walk into a room and it's something that people don't see all the time. And sometimes I don't want to face that. I do not struggle with comparisons. Not with my friends, not with in the magazines, not with the models on TV. I just don't, and I don't even know how to explain that, because when I step back and look at my life, I think, wow, I'm blessed to not wake up and feel those things, because so many of my friends do feel the weight of, not measuring up to whatever is, perfection. And I am just, what's unbelievable is I don't make a comparison because I know there's no comparison. Like how could I compare myself to those women who don't have a disability? It just would blow my mind to even try. Who did you take?
Woody.
For me, it's like if you live every day consumed by your disability, that's not freedom, that's bondage. Like, and that, I mean, Christ has come to set us free, and I believe that he does. He sets individuals who live with disabilities, he sets them free mentally, emotionally, just free from the opinions of people, free from the fears that society brings on, free from the pressures that you feel to be normal, whatever that means. I mean, he does, he sets you free, and he just gives you the confidence to be who you are. And I mean, that's who he's been to me.
Like we do all the time.
I'm studying social work. I'm working towards my master's in social work. Today, Kate and I are presenting on a project that we've worked on all semester.
This session of our community and administrative practice class, we're going to be beginning with an oral presentation from two of your colleagues on community needs assessment for persons with spina bifida. So Kate and Holly, come on forward, please.
Okay, my name is Holly and this is Kate, and we have designed an online emotional support group,
which is an online emotional support group for young adults with spina bifida. It is hypothetical, and we're writing for a real grant proposal, but we're doing it in bits and pieces, and today we'll present it to the class.
Yes, as Holly said, we're implementing an online support group, and the title of our support group is going to be called Friends Connect because we feel it's so important. I noticed how outgoing she was and how she makes people feel comfortable around her, and she makes you feel like you can be yourself, all of yourself, not just, you know, a part that others might socially accept easily, but you can like really bring like your whole self, your struggles and, you know, your challenges to her, and she's not going to reject you as a friend. Like, she just embraces you and listens well and just loves people very well.
Kate is precious. She is a sister in Christ, and she is a fellow classmate, a study buddy, a great partner, and she is so kind and has such a beautiful heart.
Thank y'all.
Thank you so much.
You know, it's partly because she's been there herself with health-related struggles, but also because of her personality that is so open and non-judgmental. So I just feel so comfortable, like, being my whole self around her, and I know that she's not going to reject me as a friend or as a, you know, class partner. So it's really a blessing to encounter a friend like that in our society today.
I'm just so thankful that I met Kate at UTA. And we've only known each other, I mean, even less than a year, and she's become a very important person to me.
It's obvious Holly Struther makes friends so easily. I mean, her girlfriends consider her a real treasure, and vice versa. But what about guy friends? Boy, I can identify there. After I got out of the hospital and I was tooling around on the campus of University of Maryland, I made lots of guy friends. I hung out with them, went to pizza parties. My girlfriends often asked me to sing in their weddings, and it was kind of fun after the first, second, third wedding, and then the fourth, sixth, seventh, 10th. And by the 12th wedding, I began to wonder, when's it going to be my turn? When do I get a chance to go down the aisle? Is there a guy out there who will love me for who I am on the inside? There's not a woman alive who doesn't dream about that day when she might share her life with a husband, have a home, have children. And Holly is no exception.
Please, please. Leslie, get over here. I want you to get to know everyone.
I hope to be married someday. Children aren't possible for me physically, but you know, I'm so open to adoption, and we'll see what happens. So
good to see you. How are you doing? Thanks for coming.
I wouldn't really say it's my obstacle to overcome. I would say it's theirs. I try to display as much normalcy, whatever that means, to the guys that I meet in my life, to show them, you know what, I may look different on the outside. However, like, I think I embody a lot of what a young man who loves the Lord would want and would need. And it's getting them to overcome maybe their issues with the disability. For me, it's not really something I can do. I can't change the way a person sees me. I mean, I can try to display, you know, in my personality and the way I talk to them, the way I treat them, that it is okay. I am just Holly. I'm not spina bifida. It's just something I deal with. We've all got our hang-ups. We've all got our challenges in life. And I think it's the other person. I guess, like, the hardest thing is the initial meeting. But once a guy gets to know me, I can just see, you know, how differently he treats me. It's no longer, you know, Holly, this fragile little thing. I'm intimidated by her. I don't know how to talk to her, treat her. But he treats me like he would treat any other friend that he had that's a female. It is the initial meeting, and then I think it is maybe their thoughts, their struggles with dating a woman with a disability. I don't know. I mean, they don't communicate that to me, so I don't know. When building relationships, particularly with guys, once we do get past that initial meeting and they can see that I am a lot more than the short height, the bent spine, the crutches, whatever. I think that I form friendships easily, so we have a good bond. I mean, if it also depends on the person and if we share the same interests, but if I feel that things could go a particular way and they don't, and, you know, his feelings aren't reciprocated in any way, then it's disappointing. I mean, that happens to everyone. And, I mean, and even in the one instance that I have referenced, this person is still a good friend of mine, and he probably still doesn't have a clue.
Clue what?
How I felt. I feel his strength even now. And when I want to run away crying, he just stills my soul, you know? He gives me the courage to even answer these questions. I believe that his strength embodies, purpose and meaning in the cross that you carry, that I'm carrying, which could look like me sitting here doing this interview and answering hard questions. It could look like a lonely Friday night. Instead of turning to bitterness or depression, I turn to him. It could look like the confidence that I give off when I walk into a brand new room with brand new people. His strength could look like a presentation that I give. It could look like a walk that I do with my dog. I mean, his strength just, it's everything. It embodies all that I do. Go.
Crazy dog.
My hope for Holly is that God uses her in a huge way. I think he will. She's a very smart girl. She's very, she's got a great personality. I think she has a lot going for her. People are naturally drawn to her. For a lot of reasons, they're naturally drawn to her, you know. I mean, they can't help but notice her, you know, when we go places or whatever. But then as they begin to talk to her and stuff, she just really draws people in quickly. And they're very intrigued with, you know, her condition and what she's doing. And they're always amazed at what she's doing, going to school. I mean, she's in her master's program, you know. She's a very smart girl. I think she's an excellent speaker. I think she has great insight. I just think that I think God's going to use her in a huge way. I really hope He does. And I feel very fortunate that God allowed me to be the mother of Holly, because I think she's way more than I could have, than I am. And I just feel privileged to be her mom.
I mean, she's like the perfect person spilled into an imperfect body. That's how I would describe her. I mean, really, you know, a few years ago, she became more than my daughter. She became my hero, really. I started seeing in her all the things I wish that I could have seen in myself, you know. Her faith, her strength. She just, I don't know, that's how I would describe her. I think she's everything I would want to be, you know. She really is. She's got a tender heart. She's got a level head. She's intelligent. She's beautiful. I mean, what's not to like? You know, I mean, I don't even think, I don't know that you can adequately describe her, really. That's how I feel about her. I don't think she could be better than she is.
I have a blog going, it's broken, at firstnetchurch.com. And it's the disability ministry blog, and I head that up, and I get a lot of great responses from it, and it's become one of it is my favorite pastime. I love sharing through that outlet, so. I would love to write a book. I love to write. I love to share my heart through words, and yeah, I mean, I would love to write, and I'm not sure what the book would look like. I'm not even sure what I would talk about, but yeah, I would love to write.
You probably don't wrestle with a serious disability, but I just bet you can identify with my friend Holly. Perhaps there's something that you would like to change about your appearance or abilities. Maybe not a crooked spine, but crooked nose or teeth, Or you might struggle with your height or your weight. Well, did you know that Ephesians chapter 2 tells us that we are God's workmanship? I love that word. It's like we're a poem that He's writing. He's designed us, and He's not finished with us yet. He's got a long way to go in completing the picture of who Holly is and who you are. And every morning when Holly Struther wakes up, she decides to cooperate with God and His design for her life. It's something I had to learn to do when I got out of the hospital and was dealing with my wheelchair. There were so many times I would wheel into a room and think, gee, how am I coming across? Do people think I'm foolish, or am I saying the right thing? So much of a self-focus, but how much better to now wheel into a room and think, well, who here needs a lift? I wonder who I can talk to or who I can encourage. That's what makes for a healthy self-image. And Holly strives not to accept the values extolled on the covers of grocery checkout tabloids. No, she strives to understand and accept the values God places on her appearance and her abilities. She works on deepening her relationship with Jesus Christ, the one who designed her. And Holly has learned to trust God because she is convinced that He wrote the prescription for her appearance. And He wrote it down specifically in Psalm 139. Oh God, You have knit me together, even with my spina bifida, in my mother's womb. And finally, Holly believes that her outward appearance is merely a frame around the inward qualities God is beautifully shaping inside her. God's reputation is at stake in the finished picture of Holly Struther. So you better believe that He is going to shower grace upon grace on that young woman each and every morning when she wakes up and goes to Him for peace and perspective. Holly Struther is one of the emerging new leaders in the disability ministry movement, and I am so grateful that she is passing on this wisdom to other young people with disabilities. I remember watching Holly at one of our Joni and Friends family retreats. I was so impressed with the way this girl would lovingly reach out to other teenagers in wheelchairs, encouraging, counseling them through their own struggles with self-image, helping them to comprehend and accept the values God was placing on their appearance. Well, at Joni and Friends, we are fully committed to raising up this new generation of Christian leaders who are using their disabilities for the glory of God. And whether through our family retreats or internship programs, our Christian Institute on Disability, we want to do everything we can to train up these young leaders with disabilities. So, with thank you. Thanks for watching Joni and Friends, because God will often use suffering to draw us closer to Jesus.